In the forgotten valley of Emberfall, where mountains touched the clouds and the wind carried secrets, there lived a quiet boy named Kyle. He was not a warrior, not a prince, just a simple boy who delivered herbs for the village healer. But Kyle had a strange gift. He could feel when the mountains were afraid. One night, while walking home under a sky full of burning stars, the wind suddenly stopped. The world went silent, and then a voice rose from the deep rocks, not with words, but with a warning that echoed inside his heart. The last door is waking. Kyle froze. Everyone in Emberfall believed the last door was only a story, an old legend meant to scare children. A black stone doorway hidden inside the mountain, sealed by ancient magic, protecting the world from something terrible. But Kale knew the mountains never lied. The next morning, Kale saw a glowing symbol on his palm, shaped like broken fire. When he touched it, visions filled his mind. A dark door, chains breaking, and a dragon made of smoke and flames rising into the sky. A cold voice whispered that only the marked could enter, and only the brave could return. Shaking, Kale ran to Master Roran, the village elder. When Roran saw the mark, his face lost all color. He said the door had chosen Kale, and if it opened fully, Emberfall would be destroyed. Kale felt fear rise in his chest, but he still said he would stop it. Roran placed an old sword on the table, and told him he would not go alone. Before sunset, 3 others joined him. Lyra, an archer who never missed her target and trusted no one easily. Thorn, a tall warrior with silent eyes and scars from forgotten battles. And Mira, a young mage whose hands glowed with living runes, believing that magic followed the heart of the one who used it. They climbed the hidden path into the mountains where the air grew thin and cold. Shadows stretched longer with every step, and soon they entered a forest where the trees twisted like claws and whispers followed them. From the ground, dark shapes rose and moved toward them, creatures made of living shadow. Thorn charged forward, his sword cutting through darkness. Lyra's arrows burned like fire as they struck. Mira lifted her hands and lightning flashed between the trees. Kale stood frozen until a shadow leaped at him. Without thinking, he raised his hand, and the mark on his palm burst with light, destroying the creature in an instant. Everyone stared at him in shock. Mira softly told him he was stronger than he knew. But Kale felt something else. The mark was growing warmer, almost alive, as if it was waiting for something. When they reached the mountain wall, they saw it. A massive black door carved into the stone itself, covered in ancient cracks that glowed like dying embers. The ground trembled, and the door slowly began to open. From inside came a deep voice asking who dared to return to Emberfall's curse. Mira realized it was not a door but a prison. The chains shattered, and a dragon made of smoke and fire burst out, its eyes burning with endless hunger. It laughed and mocked them, saying that 4 children could never stop an eternal creature. Fire tore across the rocks as the dragon attacked. Thorn fought with all his strength, Lyra climbed higher to strike its eyes, and Mira used powerful magic that shook the sky. But nothing slowed the beast. Then the dragon turned toward Kale, and said that he carried both the seal and the key. Kale understood the terrible truth. The mark was never meant only to lock the door. It was meant to open it fully and free the dragon forever. The dragon's power pulled at him, and dark visions filled his mind. Cities burning, people screaming, Emberfall turning to ash. Tears filled Kale's eyes as he whispered that he was not strong enough. Then he felt a hand on his shoulder. Thorn told him bravery was not about having no fear, but about standing even when fear was strongest. Lyra said he did not fight alone. Mira held his glowing hand and told him the mark answered to his heart, not to the dragon. Kale closed his eyes and remembered his village, the healer who trusted him, and the quiet valley that had always been his home. He whispered that he chose to protect, not destroy. The fire of the mark turned blue, pure and bright. Kyle lifted his hand, and a beam of blue light shot into the sky. Chains of light wrapped around the dragon as it screamed in rage, swearing it could never be destroyed. With all his remaining strength, Kale pressed his glowing palm against the door. The dragon was dragged back into the mountain, and the door sealed shut with a final thunderous sound. The valley fell silent. Kale collapsed. When he opened his eyes, the sun was rising and birds were singing. The mountain was calm again. The mark on his hand had faded into a faint scar. Lyra smiled and told him he had done it. Mira said legends claimed the door might awaken again someday, and Thorn said that when it did, the world would need heroes once more. Kale looked down at the peaceful valley and said he was only a delivery boy. Lyra laughed and said not anymore. And as they walked back toward Emberfall, Kale realized that sometimes the world is not saved by the strongest, but by the ones who choose courage when fear feels easier.